lot of podcasts lately. Is it just me, or do we
so many podcasts?
Do we just record a lot of podcasts?
Yes, it's like taking over my life.
Like, but in a good way or in a bad way?
No, in a good way. I like it, but it's like almost every week. It's like every week but one.
It is literally every week. We watch a movie we record a podcast every week, and which I know there are probably other people out there who are like, what the fuck? I record like 7 podcasts a week. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but for the longest time we had one podcast and we only recorded once a month, and then we chopped it up. I put it on the butcher's block and chopped it up for an entire month.
Yeah, no, it's
and then
podcast life.
The week that we don't record a podcast, we usually have writers group.
Yeah.
So, so we record like every week.
Every week.
I like it though.
I like it too.
I'm watching so many movies.
Yeah, it's fun. And it's like when they're assigned, you're like, you have fun with it. Like you're not like, I don't want to, like, I get kind of indecisive about films sometimes. I'm like, I'm not in the mood for that. I'm not in the mood for that. But
I do the same thing. Like I have a list of all these fucking movies I'm supposed to watch. And then I get paralysis the moment I turn on, because I'm like, which one? What if I pick the wrong one?
Yeah.
But because we have to watch stuff for the podcast, it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to watch this. And then I'm pretty happy about it.
Well, I know that if I'm in the wrong mood, I will not like something, and then I'll like write it off my list and it'll be bad. Like, okay, so when Schitt's Creek first came out,
I just started watching that.
I just started watching it too. So when it first came out...
How many episodes are you in?
Like 7.
Oh, I'm only like 2 or 3 episodes in, but I love it.
I love it. So, but I watched it when it first came out. I watched the first 2 episodes the first year it came out. Hated it. Was like, this is crap. Hated it.
Crap? How could you?
I thought it was crap.
How could anything that Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara did? Okay.
I was in a bad mood. Okay. Like, because I watched it this time and I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? This is amazing.
You weren't feeling like you wanted to be joked with.
It was amazing. And I was like, I started to watch Schitt's Creek this week because we saw Dan Levy in Happy Season for the Feminine Mistake. And
that's right. So listeners, I'll just drop this in here. Listeners, we also do another podcast called the Feminine Mistake Podcast, where we watch movies and we talk about how women are portrayed in those movies. And this month we watched Happiest Season with Kristen Stewart and Dan Levy. So anyway, please continue.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, this guy is amazing, and I need to give Schitt's Creek one more try, because I've been seeing so many GIFs of his character and so many like,
oh, I love him.
Super cuts of him going, oh my god. And
also his sweatpants are ridiculous. Like even just in the first 2 or 3 episodes I saw, like he's always wearing sweatpants, but they're like yoke. They're like these weird saggy yoga pants.
What did his dad joke about his pants? His dad made a joke about his pants, about them being know. I forget what he said, but it was hilarious. He like joked about the fact that they're like set. Oh, it was like big soggy diaper.
I've heard people refer to those types of pants as soggy diaper pants. You know. Speaking of sweatpants, I feel like there's a lot of sweatpant work in this film that we watched this week.
Oh,
a lot of sweatpant
segue.
Welcome to the Adam and Andy podcast.
Welcome.
I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
I'm your other host, Sarah.
And this is a podcast where we watch only Adam Driver and Andy Samberg movies. And this week, because we record this twice a month, this week it was an Andy week, and we watched Hot Rod.
Hot Rod.
Did you look up the year for this movie? Because I
2006.
2006. Oh my God. That was like a million years ago.
Wait, I think it was 2007.
Holy fucking shit. That was so long ago.
Hold on.
We didn't even know each other in 2007, Sarah.
I know. 2007, yes.
Holy fucking shit. 2007. I was still living in Chicago.
Wow.
I wasn't even married.
Yeah. I was a freshman in college.
Wow. I was in film school, so I was in grad school, and I was just a babe in the world.
Just a babe.
Just a babe.
Super hot babe.
I'm very excited to talk about this movie with you, Sarah.
Oh, I'm so excited too.
This is so ominous. Before we do that, would you like to get into some Adam and Andy news?
Yes.
Okay. So this week, I have a couple of articles with some quotes. So a couple things. Do you want to start with Adam or Andy? I guess let's start with Adam, because then we'll just like dive right into Andy and just stay in Andy
Stay
land.
in Andy.
So not too much new news. Adam did, and here, let me see if I can text you a picture of this. Adam did begin work. Well, he had already begun. They begun work on 65, and he was on set on his birthday, apparently, to shoot pickups or reshoots or something for 65. So, so let me just text you. So this picture actually came out like right after we recorded the last podcast. So in Twitter land, this is actually kind of old news. But this picture was just like all over the place. So here's a picture. I'm texting it to you right now of Adam on the set of 65. Everyone going just completely fucking bonkers over that green hoodie and sweatpants that he's wearing. So apparently he was, yeah. So let's see.
People.
I mean, wow. Who doesn't love sweatpants?
He's just wearing clothes. Like,
he's just wearing clothes. But
when
he
wears a guy.
I know, but Sarah, when he wears clothes, it's different.
Okay.
When a normal man wears clothes, don't you think?
He's cute.
So apparently, so this is actually a quote from 2016 in this article. What I like, so he's talking about I guess he's talking about reshoots. What I like about sets is that you get to so many chances to do it again and again. I love the idea of doing a lot of takes because there's so many different ways that you can play scenes. So I guess he doesn't mind having to go back.
I would only give him one take. I don't like for actors to have fun.
I would. Sarah.
I'm joking.
With you. I've worked with you. Look, you're not a person that does excessive takes. You're not an excessive take director, but I think you do keep going until you get what you want.
I think that it assaults the actors. Like, if you do too many takes, like, it's either to get some kind of reaction, some bad reaction from them.
Yeah, you're trying to poke them or something.
Right, which I don't like.
It's manipulative. Look, yeah, you know what? I agree with you, and I think this is why we work so well together when we're shooting a film. I believe in a couple of takes. Like, if you cast right, then you cast the person who's going to give you what you want. Now, obviously, certain scenes with more complexity require more takes. Sometimes it's about the camera move, or sometimes it's you've got a special effect or like a fight scene or some kind of choreography that requires multiple takes. I think it's always good to do multiple takes to try out different things. I always like it as an actor, or when I'm directing, I like to give actors a chance to have a take where they just do whatever they want, But yeah, I feel like when you're honestly, as an editor, when I'm picking the best takes, it's usually going to be the first one or two takes, unless there was a problem with the like if the we're doing a complicated camera move and the camera, that's different. But if it's just the actor sitting in front of the camera acting, usually the first take or two is the best to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything beyond that, and you're just, I think, wearing them down, and it's like, I don't know why you're doing that. Like, what are you trying to?
Unless you want a worn down performance, such as in The Shining with Shelley Duvall.
So she's a fucking actor. Just ask her to act like an abused woman, or whatever. Like, whatever it is you have. Obviously, you wouldn't say that specifically because that's not very helpful direction. But ask her to act. Bless you. That is the daintiest sneeze I've ever seen.
Yes.
I think multiple asking an actor to do take after take, like, 40 takes or something is just, it's fucking absurd. It's absurd. And if I was your editor, I would be like, fuck you. How dare you make me watch? I mean, obviously they're probably somebody like a David Fincher or a Stanley Kubrick is going to probably obsessively mark their favorite takes anyway. But as an editor, I would be like, Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, so that's all really the news for Adam. He's on set. He's shooting 65. That's the only picture that I've seen from set. So either he's been on break recently or he's been under wraps. I don't know. But I'm sure right after we record this, probably the moment I shut off this microphone, something will happen. That seems to always be the way. Also, I've got okay, so that's kind of all the news I have for Adam. Also, this isn't really news, but around this time in 2018, The Last Jedi was released.
Mm-hmm.
So people have been reminiscing about that, of course. Or was it 2017? Actually, I'm sorry, it was 2017 because there were like 2 years in between the movies, right?
Mm-hmm. So wait, did the last one come out last year?
The last one came out like not now, but around now. It was around now because I remember I went, I think, around my birthday.
No, I'm saying, did it come out last year? The Rise of Skywalker
came out in December of 2019, which feels like a whole different universe. Yeah. Okay, so Andy news. I believe I don't know if they've started shooting Brooklyn Nine-Nine yet. Last time we talked, they were doing a table read. But Andy recently did a podcast on with Variety. So he did a podcast. He and Chris Milioti did a podcast, and there were some quotes here from the podcast. First of all, he talked about there's new diversity requirements for the Academy Awards, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, well, there are not to get into it too deeply, but there's basically like a diversity inclusion standards for like how diversity of crew and people involved in the project in order for your film to be considered for an Academy Award.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't take place until 2024.
What?
So, yeah. They're going to give people some time. I know. It's like, just fucking tell people to hire them now. Like, why are you waiting like 4 years? Like, that's going to make it any better.
That's so weird.
By 2024, there has to be a certain, makeup. And that's great. That's a good thing. We're not mocking that. Like, it's great. There should be, we would like to think that you could just say, hey, hire women and people of color like on your set. You would think we could just say that, but we don't. We
January
can't.
1st.
Exactly. Like, you can't just tell people that they should, because they're not fucking going to. They obviously haven't in the last, 100 years or whatever. So, or they did. They used to hire women. They didn't. Hiring people of color has always been a problem for sure. But women, of course, used to be a lot more present in the film industry in the early days, and then
women began the film industry.
It's true. But just talking about it isn't enough. So now they've set down these standards so that if you want to be considered for an Academy Award, you have to have standards now that meet these standards, but that doesn't roll out until 2024. So that's the thing that we're mocking, is that it's taking them. They're like giving you so long to comply with that. Anyway, so Andy Samberg says, I guess this is his response to people complaining about the diversity standards. He says, the parameters, if you look at them closely, you can have the whitest cast in the history of cinema and still very easily meet them by doing just a few key roles behind the camera. People who have problems with it can fuck off.
Yeah, they can fuck off, but why would you want the whitest cast?
I know. So that part of it is a little weird. It's like, I'm sure it's just one of those things when you're talking. Yeah, that part of it is a little weird. It's like, I like the part where he says that people, like, if he had just said people who have a problem with it can fuck off, I would have been like, yeah. But then the first part is like, I guess what I didn't listen to the podcast, so maybe it's different the way that he says it. Like it doesn't look great. Context? Yeah, maybe it's better in context. I mean, I think what he's trying to say is you can still be a piece of crap about it, and your movie will get in. You just need to add add a few different people on the crew, which kind of makes me question the nature of these the diversity standards, maybe they need to be a little higher if you can have the whitest cast in the history of cinema and still meet the standards. Anyway, but the important thing is, I hope that we can take away from this is that he's saying that if you have a problem with these new standards, then go fuck yourself. That's the part that I'm going to enjoy, and then the first part I'm going to feel a little awkward about personally.
Sorry.
I think the context was he was also talking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine and the fact that there's actually a lot of diversity in that cast, and his take on that was that it wasn't difficult to do that because those actors are great and they really add something in the show, and so it's not difficult to include different people and different types of people and have diversity in your project. It's not difficult. There's great people out there, I think, is kind of the context of where that came from.
I think that the thing about the cast being white is some stories, like historical stories, I guess, like there would be some type of thing with that. But like, yeah, if you're telling a modern day story and you could cast anyone in parts, like, yeah, be diverse.
I hope that we will see that reflected on screen. Also, we know that that's a huge problem behind the camera, so I hope we'll see more opportunities behind the camera as well. So hopefully,
for sure,
in fucking 2024, whenever they decide to roll that out, hopefully we'll see some of that. The other thing I wanted to pull from here is that also during that interview, he addresses how Brooklyn Nine-Nine will address police brutality and systemic racism on the show. So he says, our country is going through a hard time. It's been going through this. We've been told that if we've been told if we wanted to listen, it's been happening. What the show is going to do is further that conversation. I do believe that our characters need to examine their roles in the world. They're going to be forced to look in the mirror and see who they're complicit with. We have a decent track record of addressing social issues. And I'm thinking, of course, of that episode they did with Terry, where Terry is profiled by another police officer in his own neighborhood. I don't know if you remember that episode, but anyway, so interested to see how that pans out. I know that Andy is not the first person in the cast to mention that. Other people have also mentioned that that's something that they're looking to bring into the show, is to, participate in that conversation. Anyway, that's all the Adam and Andy news that I have.
Thank you.
Should we talk about this week's movie?
I think we should.
So Hot Rod, 2007, starring Andy Samberg and a whole lot of other people
in the SNL world. I think he joined in 2006 or something.
Just a little baby Andy Samberg. This seemed like it was a Lonely Island joint.
Yes.
So like you said on the last show, this was a script that I didn't do any research for this episode because I have no journalistic integrity. But I believe you said on the last episode that this was written for Will Ferrell.
Yes, it was. He didn't want to do it, and so they got onto the project and reworked some stuff. And definitely, you can see how
I can see that
from here
in there, yeah.
But also, like looking at them now, like they've evolved so much. Like the Andy in this movie is not the same Andy who was in Palm Springs. He is like a different actor.
I fuck up, man. That is so true. I was thinking that the whole time. Like he's just like a baby. Like they're all babies. Like Yorma.
Yorma.
I've only seen Yorma really in Girls as what? God, I remembered his name when I was watching the movie. What is it? Booth Jonathan.
Oh my God.
I've really only seen him as Booth Jonathan. So, and of course, and I've seen the sketches. Yeah. And so to see him in this role was really strange. So yeah, Andy's acting is very different, especially if you even look at this and something like Celeste and Jesse. Like it's very different. But so I guess let's just start before we get into it. Like, did you like this movie?
I liked parts of it, but I did not like this movie.
I fucking love this movie.
Oh my gosh.
I
was not expecting that.
It was idiotic. But I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it. It was like a stupid, slapsticky, absurd comedy, and it had some really. It's got Bill Hader in it, Danny McBride, like.
I really enjoyed
Sissy
parts.
Spacek is in this movie. She doesn't have a lot to do.
Okay, here's the thing. I really enjoyed certain parts. Like certain parts, I laughed out loud prolongedly. But lots of other parts, it didn't work. Like the jokes didn't work. Like it felt very amateurish. And
I definitely see that. I agree with you on that, and I think there's I have a spin on what I have something that relates to that in my notes here.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that in a way it's a little bit like a very long sketch.
Yes.
But with a little bit more depth, but also it was played in a way that you would play a sketch.
Yeah, so I was telling my friend,
but so is Step Brothers. Like Step
I
Brothers
don't like
is very
that
absurd. I fucking
movie.
love Step Brothers.
I love Step Brothers. I don't like it because it is. So the thing that I told my friend about this movie is, it feels like this is a full length movie with like 15 minutes worth of plot. Like I feel like they have,
but that's the thing is this is a like a broad comedy.
Yeah.
And broad comedies are not big on the plot. They're big on the jokes. And the plot is just getting you from joke to joke.
Yeah.
I do think there's a few. Here's what I'll say. I feel like this is a movie that was people at the beginning of their careers before they really found their voice.
Yeah.
And matured as writers. But it's still funny. And also, I think that if you look at it a little more closely, there are some things in there that I think are at a bit of a deeper level, but maybe not executed in the best way.
Yeah. I think that some things
But it was very funny. I loved it. I thought I enjoyed the shit out of it.
I think that there are some things that are brilliant. Like we'll talk about it. But yeah, there are definitely some moments that I was just like, this is gold. But overall, I didn't care for it.
So it was not your cup of tea.
No.
It was my cup of tea. I would brew this tea and I would watch it again. I feel like my kids would probably enjoy this movie.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
maybe not yet.
Oh, I guess not. Andy is in his underwear a lot in this movie.
But also there's like so much violence.
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't want Elliot attempting to jump a pool.
And like hit people.
Oh my God, Sarah, last night I was watching The Mandalorian with the kids. This is a total sidetrack. And there's this awful part where they put prisoners. Somebody puts prisoners in these like electric cages, and one of them keeps bumping the cage and getting electrocuted, and you can see him in the background, and it's like really upsetting. But Lucas kept laughing like it was the funniest thing he's ever seen, and I was like, that is not funny. He's like, it is. It's hilarious. Look at him, and I was like, oh my God, it is not funny.
It's because it's not real to him.
I know. Anyway, what's the first thing on your list, Sarah?
The stepdad and the fights. The fights he has with his stepdad.
Yeah, I have that written down as daddy issues. So there's a lot of daddy issues in this movie. Man, you are just digging deep right from the top. You're just like, you're digging deep. All right. So what do you want to say about the stepdad?
So that is a common thing, the masculine, the father and son kind of like being aggressive towards each other because the dad wants to like turn him into a strong man. So that was definitely what was happening in this case. The fighting was absurd, which I did enjoy. It was very ridiculous.
They were like crashing through walls. So I hope everyone who's listening to this has watched Hot Rod, but for those of you who haven't seen it, Andy Samberg's character Rod is a amateur stuntman. And he lives with his brother, his half brother. His half brother. And his
What's his name? What is his name?
Fuck, what is his name? It's Yorma. Yorma plays him. I don't remember his...
Yorma. Yorma is so cute. I've had such a crush on Yorma in school. Oh my gosh.
We need to talk about Yorma. I was like upset by his outfits because he looked like a toddler. I was like upset. I was like, he's wearing toddler pajamas, which there was something very unnerving about it. I was like, why like I know it's part of the comedy and the character was meant to be like, I guess I didn't mean to veer off to talk about Yorma, but here we are. I think Yorma was great. And I think that the relationship between the brothers was great. I really liked their relationship. There was nothing competitive about them. I do think that Rod bossed him around a little bit, but he's the older brother, so that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
And he's kind of charismatic and Yorma's character, which fucking
dorky.
Dorky. He's dorky. He's like a film guy, like he was editing all the videos and stuff. Yeah, he's a dorky like me. But so I guess the comedy was they're like, let's put Yorma in ill-fitting clothes that make him look like a toddler. I feel like that was the idea, and I was just like,
and his hair was also like a toddler too.
But I think I would have liked a little bit more. I know we had a lot of characters, and again, this is where I think the movie, if it had been written by them maybe 10 years later, where it would have been a little better. Is that I love their relationship, but I feel like Yorma's character didn't have any, like, there was no. We didn't really get into like what his deal was. Like, why is he so devoted to Rod? He's obviously got a special relationship with his dad, but like, how does he feel about his dad on the verge of death? Like, we never, there's nothing about that. He's obviously upset about it. They cut to him a couple of times, but there's very little to go on about who that character is as a person. And I feel like that we could have gotten a little bit more about him. And then maybe it would have made sense why he was dressing like a toddler. Like, maybe he's emotionally stunted. I don't know. Like, obviously, Rod is emotionally stunted, but he's emotionally stunted because he's got this obsession with his dad, who was this stuntman. Now, we'll learn something new about his dad later, but to his knowledge, his dad was this stunt man and he worked with Evel Knievel. And so Rod aspires to be like him. And he's got this stepdad who he has this complex relationship with, who he wants to impress, who doesn't think that he's enough of a man. And there's a lot going on there. And I feel like you could have rolled in what was going on with Yorma's character as well. And that would have been a really interesting dynamic, but they just kind of didn't do anything with him other than make him an accessory to Rod, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like even Bill Hader's character had a little bit more depth, you know? Maybe not. I don't know.
Just that one scene, which is also on my list. I think you know the one.
Oh, I do. So let's circle back. So anything else that you wanted to say about Dad and the fights? I have some things I'd like to say as well.
No, go ahead.
So here's where I think the movie has the spark of something that is deeper and that maybe is the kind of thing that we'll see in some of Andy's later work. Obviously, he didn't write 7 Days in Hell, but I think he had a lot to do with it. You can tell that that was an idea that they worked on together, right? Also, obviously, Palm Springs, he didn't write that, but as a part of the producing team, I'm sure they had some influence on what happened there. So you can see that they're able to tackle themes as a group. The Lonely Island is able to tackle themes in a way that maybe it was a little bit more juvenile at this stage. But I would say that the dad and Rod's relationship to his stepdad is like the one thing that I think is a spark of some kind of depth, which is making fun of masculinity. To me, that whole arc was just making fun of the idea of the stepdad that won't approve of his stepson, the idea of what it takes to be a man, and that I gotta fight you, we gotta fight, and you're gonna be a man one day. I didn't take any of that seriously. I feel like the movie was very self-aware about it, and that they were intentionally making fun of that as a thing that happens in other movies.
Yes. So, Andy has said in interviews that he loves making fun of masculinity. That's one of the things that he loves to joke about and write about and stuff. And in all of his work, he has that aspect.
Yeah. I think we can definitely see a thread of that, at least in the things where he's involved on a level as a producer. Like, I don't think we see that as much in something like Celeste and Jesse, but I don't think he was in the trenches of production. I think he was just acting in that. Not that there's just acting, but I mean, like, I don't think he had any, he wasn't really there guiding the story in any way. But yeah, I think if you look at 7 Days in Hell, That's My Boy, not that I want to bring back that shit show into the discussion, but and even Palm Springs a little bit. Not really. I don't know that I guess there's a little bit in there.
Think about the guy he's stuck with.
That's true. The guy who's always like trying to kill him and stuff. But yeah, masculinity is definitely something that they tackle in some of the other films that he's in. And I think this was like, and it's not just the dad, but also the boyfriend as well. Like, Denise's boyfriend is a different kind of toxic masculinity. He's
Arnett.
like that rich, like Will Arnett's character. Yeah. So there's a lot of that. So I think that is the part of the movie that feels, and all the guys on the crew, but especially the stuff with the dad, feels like a very pointed attempt at saying, like, a lot of these movies about sports movies, if you want to call this a sports movie, which it is in a way, it has the same formula, right? You don't think so?
Yeah.
Even though it's about something non-traditional, which is stunt work, there's something a bit like a sports movie about it. And all of those kind of follow that formula of, like, I'm trying to be a man, I'm trying to prove that I'm a man. And I think this really, even though it's a little clunky, I think it really does a good job of poking fun at that.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it poking fun at it. Like, I feel like I've just seen it so much that it didn't occur to me that they would be poking fun at that trope. But
I think it's I think it's intentional because of the level of how absurd it is, and the fact that, he's like, I'm gonna fucking murder you. Like, I'm gonna make sure that they fix your heart so I can fucking murder you. Like, it's so extreme that I feel like it was a conscious effort to parody that trope in other movies of the stepfather that won't accept you.
That makes me feel a little bit better. I don't know. Yeah, it was very clunky. So it was so clunky that I couldn't tell that they were making anything intentional. It felt like something that, like, I mean, obviously, like, they had like actual cameras and stuff.
It ends with him making his stepdad shit his pants.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's like he does like some crazy Tai Chi move. I mean, it's they fight all over the lawn. I mean, it's so extreme. Like, I feel like they're doing it on purpose. It's not that it's intentional, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things where the movie, like, really succeeded in pulling in something that's deeper than just like, let's watch this guy crash into stuff, which this could have just been a movie where it's like, let's have Andy crash into things. And I know that it's not Andy, it's an actual stunt guy. It's, in fact, I know I don't want to jump around too much, but the scene in the forest where they obviously, there's a lot of parody here that works well.
That is like the best thing I've seen in like years. Like, the dance in the forest, followed by the longest fall of all time.
I knew you would love that part.
Best part of any movie
doing
I've seen.
Gymnastics, like, on the log. Like, he's doing, like, what is that? It's like a side horse or horse. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Like, so you can tell at the beginning it has actually Andy doing the dance, and then it like transitions
parts of it.
Yes, parts of it, but then it transitions to more elaborate dance, and then it transitions to like acrobatic, and then it transitions to gymnastics, then it transitions to a stunt person falling down like the longest hill of all time. Like, it just kept going, and I was like laughing my ass off.
So good. but the thing is, again, Sarah, there's a lot of parody here that I think is that if you look closely, it's there. And I don't think you have to look too close here, but the fact that they very clearly dim his face, like, they make it so dark in the forest, it's like they're telling you, nudge, nudge, this is a movie about a stunt guy, and this is what happens when they put in a stunt double. They obscure the actor's face, you can't tell. that scene was in a way kind of stood out to me from the rest of the movie. Like it felt a little bit different in tone. Like instead of being your traditional slapstick, like we're just gonna have Andy's character crash into things, it felt almost more like absurdist. And I don't mean absurd like it's ridiculous. I mean literally absurdist. Like it felt like something more bizarre, like something you'd see in like Wet Hot American Summer.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I did love that scene a lot. It was very funny.
Loved it. I was like, it was so hard not to text you. It was so hard not to text everyone. Like,
I know. Just not to text everyone.
So
and
great.
So we can all talk about the scene. I know there are several people who've been waiting for us to do Hot Rod on the show. And I hope that they're listening. And if you want to weigh in on your thoughts about your favorite scene from Hot Rod or your favorite quotable from this movie, please do reach out to us on social media at Adam Andy Pod on Twitter or at Adam and Andy Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. I would love to know what you guys' favorite scene is. But yeah, I think the scene in the woods was a highlight for me for sure.
The highlight. Oh my gosh. There are some more highlights too.
So real quick though, before we get into anything else, so just to like, the plot is super simple. It's the opposite of last week when we were trying to like dig ourselves out of the plot of Logan Lucky.
Yeah.
Real simple plot. Rod is an amateur stuntman. He obviously is kind of stuck in his. He's like kind of stuck in his maturity. He's not a real adult.
Not a real adult, no.
Who is though? Anyway, he's definitely not a real adult. But he, his stepfather, who he has this tumultuous relationship with, suddenly is ill. And no one has told him. Everyone else in the family
movie
knew.
Disease.
He's got a movie disease. He needs a heart transplant, and the family can't afford it. And so, Rod is going to raise the money to do this great big jump. That is he's going to jump 15 buses, 16 buses, 15 buses, which is one more bus than Evel Knievel jumped. Mm-hmm. And he's going to use that to raise the money to save his stepfather so that he can kick his ass.
They need $50,000.
Yeah. So that's the plot. Okay.
Yes.
All right. What's next on your list?
So he has friends. He has
the crew. We got to talk about the crew.
Bill Hader. He has Dan.
I feel like a lot of people were wearing like wigs in this movie, but not Bill Hader. Bill Hader. That was Bill Hader's. That was a real Bill Hader mullet. I feel like. I promise you, that was a real Bill Hader mullet. I will die on this hill. That was Bill Hader's hair. I feel like it really was. I feel like it was
so wiggish.
He was wearing a hat a lot, but I feel like there was one scene where I was like, oh, that's like really his hair. Although I guess, I don't know, they were all on Saturday Night Live at the time, so maybe he would have had to wear a wig.
He had
to. Although they have breaks from Saturday Night Live. Maybe it was a weave. Was Bill Hader wearing a weave? Tweeted us at Adam Andy Pod.
Weaves that look really, really real.
Tweeted us at Adam Andy Pod. Was Bill Hader wearing a weave in Hot Rod? We need to know. Somebody please tell us.
Nicole needs to know. I
need to know. Sarah doesn't. Sarah's convinced it's a wig. So yeah. So Bill Hader is. So they all have jobs. Bill Hader's character is the mechanic.
Okay.
He's the mechanic. You're looking at me like you don't remember the scene where they explain all their jobs.
I don't remember the scene. I don't. I'm like, ooh, what's his job?
Ooh, I don't remember. Please tell me more.
I know that Yorma is the tech guy, or no? I have no idea.
He's the manager / videographer.
Okay.
So he manages the talent, Rod, and he videotapes everything.
Danny McBride?
Danny McBride builds the ramps.
Okay.
That's his job.
And Isla Fisher, what's her name?
And then I would say Danny McBride builds the ramps and then occasionally rigs things to explode as well. He's also the pyrotech guy, I guess. Isla Fisher. So, let's put a pin in Denise for a second, and because I want to just talk about her separately. But so, anything to say about these guys? How do you feel about the crew?
I don't care for them.
You don't like them, okay?
I don't I like Yorma's character. I don't really like Bill Hader's character except for one scene. But for the most,
when he gets the piece
a
of metal stuck in
shrapnel,
his eye.
yes, and he like gets all zen and like is like, "Hey, can you just give me a ride to the hospital?"
He's
And
like,
like,
just it's just like a precaution. That I knew that they were going to turn his face and he was going to have like a big piece of metal sticking out of it. I knew that was going to happen.
And then like he gets out calmly at the hospital and just like, you know, like looks in the window and says something like deep. Forget what he says.
Well, we'll get there. That's more towards the end of the movie. I thought Bill Hader was funny. I enjoyed him. He seemed like a kind of a stupid guy who's just bumbling through life, and I feel like he played him really well. He seemed like he was having a fun time playing him, so I enjoyed him.
I mean, I love Bill Hader. I just the character I didn't love.
Okay. Any specific reason for that, or
he didn't seem fully developed. Like
I think that's true. There's a lot of characters
laid back, kind of low
key. Yeah, I think that was his character, laid back and low key. You know, that was pretty much all there was to him.
I guess
he had some good lines though.
I guess like I know what a great, hilarious comedic actor Bill Hader is, and I just didn't see any of the amazing kind of things that he can do.
True, but also this wasn't about him. This wasn't his movie. He was a character that was in the background, and I think that he did a good job of not stealing focus, which I think was
that's important. Yeah,
required, but still had. I mean, the character. I really love the scene where I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I guess I feel like we're just bouncing all over this movie. When Rod decides that he's not going to be a stuntman anymore, and Bill Hader walks up to him and is crying, and you can't understand what he's saying. I just thought that was super funny, and also just really sweet. Like how like their whole lives revolve around Rod, like Rod and his tricks. Like their whole lives revolve around him. I feel like Yorma could probably go get a job as a video editor or go to film school or something and be fine. But like Danny McBride and Bill Hader, like, and again, I'm sorry I'm not using anyone's names. I don't fucking remember anyone's names. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Confession, I had to ask Sarah to remind me what Andy Samberg's character's name was, even though the fucking movie is called Hot Rod. I forgot. I'm sorry. Anyway, Bill Hader and Danny McBride, they have nothing going on except for being part of the crew. That's it. And so when Rod says he's not going to be a stuntman anymore, and it's just like Bill Hader is just like crying on the sidewalk, and he's just like, and you're like, what? I just thought it was very
love
funny.
That scene where he's in the Rod is, you know, he's like, I'm not going to be a stuntman anymore, and the way he does his hair, the way he like parts his hair.
I know, he wears like dad's clothes. He wears dad clothes. He's wearing like these ill-fitting cords. What about Danny McBride? Is Danny McBride just not a flavor you like? Because he was playing Danny McBride's stock character. Like that's who I can't think of a movie that I've seen with Danny McBride in it where he's not playing that guy.
Like
he's that guy every time.
Like I know his name, but I don't know who he is.
Pineapple Express. He's been Eastbound and Down. He had a whole TV show where he played like a has-been baseball player who's basically that same character. Principals or Vice Principals or whatever was another one that he was on. God, there was one recently that was filmed in Georgia that was on HBO about a family of like evangelical preachers. Maybe it was called Holy Rollers or something. Anyway, Danny McBride is that's him. That's what he plays all the time. So if you don't like that flavor, then you might just not like what he has.
It's not that I didn't like it; it's that I didn't see it. Like,
I mean, he's not likable. Like his character is not likable.
So in the background, like just I didn't even pay attention to him at all.
I mean, I thought that his where he fit in seemed like it. Like I feel like what he brought to it, that Danny McBride-ness that he always has, fit here, which was he's the guy who follows somebody else. Like he's obviously following whatever Rod says, but he's also very aggressive and kind of a wild card. Like he'll rig up your ramp with explosives for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think that his character, like, all you need to know about him is basically in that scene where they're all dancing outside of the gas station and he just keeps shoving Yorma into the van for fun.
Yeah.
He's a bully. He's kind of a bully. He's a big dumb bully, and he has fun blowing shit up, and that's what he does. And I don't know. I thought he was funny, but I don't always love Danny McBride's shtick. Like, I had a little trouble getting through Eastbound and Down because he's just so unlikable at times. And that's just like his thing. And that's his type of comedy. And a lot of times it's very funny, and other times it's like makes me so uncomfortable that I'm not enjoying myself. But in this movie, I really liked him a lot. I don't know. Yeah, I liked the crew.
I guess it's because I know Bill Hader. I know your. I mean, I don't know them, but your
Andy
buddies, Samberg and
Isla Fisher.
Like I know I've seen them in a lot of things, and I just haven't seen Danny McBride in anything. So I was just not paying attention to him. So I don't even know what his character was doing. So I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You don't have to like this movie, Sarah. It is not required that you like every movie we watch. We're here to speak honestly about what we saw. And I liked it in
certain parts, yeah.
You like certain parts, and that's okay.
I
would like to talk about Denise.
Okay.
So Denise, played by Isla Fisher. Isla Fisher, sorry. Adorable, cute, not much depth to the character.
No.
And there wasn't to the guys either. So I guess it's, I liked her. I definitely feel like this part of the movie was the weaker part of the writing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were like, we need Rod to have a love interest. Yeah. And we're not going to talk too much about how they know each other. They were neighbors.
They grew up together.
There's no reason why. I don't understand why she becomes part of their crew. I know later she says it's because you live authentically or whatever it was she says, but I don't understand why I guess I don't understand what attracts her to Rod, other than the fact that it seems like her type is she's attracted to morons.
Yeah. But also Andy is we haven't talked about this yet, but he is so cute. Like
I would venture to say he's beautiful in this movie. He looks beautiful. Like his hair is a little fluffy.
No, I love the fluffy hair. Oh my gosh.
I kind of liked it.
The guy I had a crush on in high school had that same hairstyle with the fluffy.
It's a very early 2000s do.
Yes.
He is like, he's beautiful in this movie. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. Like,
his body, his face.
His body looks great. We got to hold on to this for the thirst. Okay. But yes, I just wanted to put it out there that Andy looks beautiful in this movie. And he's still very funny, like, obviously. But like, he's his attractiveness level is well beyond the other people around him in this movie, aside from Denise.
Yes.
Like, even Bill Hader, who I find in Barry to be very hot.
Yes.
Bill Hader's just like a goofy guy in this movie. Danny McBride, obviously.
Yorma's adorable.
I mean, Yorma looks like a toddler, Sarah.
He's adorable, clothes. But I know he's an adult.
He looks like a toddler.
Don't make me bring up Timothée Chalamet.
Don't you do this to me on this show of all shows. I find him hot, and I'm allowed to. He is an adult.
He's an adult, yes.
So is
Yorma. Yorma is an adult, but I'm not sexually attracted to Yorma. I just find him adorable, like a kid.
Sure, he was very good in this movie, but yeah, Andy is like, he was distractingly attractive. Sexy. Yes, he was like, I mean, this was like
hot.
Some peak thirst for me in this movie.
Whew, I'm so glad that you agree, because like, yes. I was worried you would be like, he looks too young, or
no. Are you you're talking to the person who is waiting for Dune to come out so I can thirst after Timothée Chalamet, and you think that I think Andy Samberg looks too young in this movie? First of all, we're the same age, so I can like him all I want retroactively in 2007. Besides, he's like a fully adult man in this movie.
I know. Oh, he's so hot.
Oh,
Okay.
he had his shirt
Woo.
off so many times in this movie. Okay,
Woo.
let's move on. We'll get to the thirst. But yeah, Denise. Again, I think this was kind of and a lot of movies are like this. The women story is a little, what is she there for? I don't know. She's there to give Rod something beyond racing to like, or not racing, but stunt. Something to make him grow a little bit. She's a plot device.
Someone to kiss at the end.
And she was very good in the movie.
Yes. Isla is adorable. I think she's a really good actress. She's always cast in these like cutesy roles.
But she's also very funny, and
she is.
I wish they'd given her some more comedic bits. Like when she gives him mouth to mouth and he barfs on her, that was funny.
Yeah.
There's
her
a lot
reaction.
of barfing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I wanted some more.
I'm just gonna go wash the barf off. Like,
yeah,
it's so funny.
I wish they'd given her some more comedic bits, because she is a comedic actress as well.
Yeah.
And in this movie, she was really like, I'm glad they put a comedic actress in the love interest role, because as you may recall from Celeste and Jesse Forever, I complained about Andy Samberg's, not Celeste, but the other love interest, and how she was kind of boring and cardboard and milquetoast. And so them putting somebody who's funny and charming in this role of the love interest was good, but I do wish she had had a little bit more something going on,
Yeah.
Other than just like, I'm here to kiss him at the end.
Yeah, she's very sweet, and but I don't know why she's with that guy. Will
why is she
character.
With Will Arnett? Exactly. I don't know why. Other than her type is just idiots.
But also, like, he behaves exactly that way the whole film, and then at the end, when he behaves the exact same way he's been behaving the entire film, all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, he's a dick." Like, but he's not extra dick in that scene. He's just always the dick.
Same. I guess it was that she was suddenly like, I want to be with the crew. I think that was the motivation, is that I'm leaving you because I want to be with this other group. But I feel like I wish there had been something bigger that was like a catalyst for that. I mean, he's literally, Will Arnett is, I mean, look, he's Will Arnett at his most Will Arnett-y in this movie.
Yeah.
Being a dick, being dickish, being self-centered, being the prototype alpha male moron, a toxic masculine moron. A toxic moron. That's like his cup of tea, right?
Yeah.
And when they go on the double date, which I was like, oh God, the minute he hit on the food truck girl to go on this double date, I was like, this is a terrible idea. Will Arnett's character, John, I think. See, I do remember some of the names. John is hitting on other women at the counter at the diner while Denise is sitting right there. And yet that doesn't bother her.
Yep.
Like, at all. It doesn't seem to, anyway.
Yeah, and the way he treats Rod, and yeah. I will say that the part where he's like, babe, no, babe, babe.
That went on too long for me. I got tired of that joke real quick.
I loved it.
I thought it was funny at first, and then I was like, yeah, okay, so you guys are going to... Sometimes people let jokes go, and they're like, the longer we do it, the funnier it is, and sometimes I'm like, but no. It was funny, and then you went on too long.
I liked it. I liked every babe no. That was like my second favorite part of the film.
Oh, okay. I think this brings me to something that I think circles back to what you said, was that the movie feels a little amateurish and feels a bit like a sketch. One of the things I wrote down was, and I understand this is a broad comedy. I get it. But I do wish that some of it was a little more grounded, because I think it would have been funnier if some of it was more grounded. Not the stunts, but the way, like, I'm thinking specifically of the scene where he's looking at the picture of his dad and he starts crying, and then Yorma comes in and he's like, get out. Like, if that had been played more seriously, I think it would have been still funny. And I think this is how you can see where Andy has evolved as an actor, because that scene, like that type of, like, he plays a very over the top character in 7 Days in Hell, but there's a lot of like like when he's in 7 Days in Hell, when he's in the underwear store and he's being asked if he misses tennis, he looks genuinely sad. Like it feels authentic. He feels authentically sad, and yet that's funny. And so I think that
this is his sketch stuff coming out. That
go
away.
Yeah, it's very sketchy. It's very, and I don't mean sketchy like it's creepy. I mean it's literally like a sketch. And I think that some of it could have been more like, I think the way that he's very grounded at the end when, and I did really like the scene between him and Denise when he's doing the big jump and Denise shows up and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, this is dangerous and I could die. Like, that was so real.
Yeah.
And I really felt something for him in that moment. And it made that excruciating tumble all the more rewarding because he had that vulnerability right before he did it.
Yeah, and that jump where he's just flying and then he's flying off of his bike. And Yorma's like,
yeah. So yeah, I think that that there were a couple moments in this movie where I wanted to see a little bit more grounding it in reality, and that would have made it, I think, funnier. And because there were just moments where it just felt like we're playing this joke as hard as we can, and I'm like, you guys don't need to work that hard. It's already funny. All of you are very funny. Just pull back on it a little bit. It's still funny when you do it, but not quite so hard. Relax.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else you got on your list?
So when they put together a video of Rod doing stunts, and so Yorma's character cuts together like this thing, and then they take it to a theater, which I don't know why they fill this gigantic theater with people to watch.
As a filmmaker, I was also feeling a little skeptical about that. I was like, that to rent that whole theater would have cost them at least $1,000, maybe $2,000 to rent that whole theater.
Yeah,
on what I assume is a Saturday night. I didn't look at the flyer,
and it's like a short video, and like. And why is everyone there? Like, how do they get everyone to go? Like,
I wasn't bothered by that, but in my mind, I was like, they just spent a bunch of their money to rent this theater. And he's like, we made $1,000. And I'm like, great. You probably would have spent that much just renting the theater. But it doesn't matter because they lose it all because Rod chucks the projector out the window.
Yeah.
I'm glad there were consequences for that.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't arrested.
No. But the police did show up, and they did lose all their money. But yeah, so Yorma cuts together this footage and they play it. I thought this scene was really interesting because I understand in the movie where it fits contextually, but also I understand as a person who makes stuff that your audience doesn't always receive what you make in the way that you want them to. And so what happens is Yorma cuts this video together of highlights of all of Rod's stunts because he's been doing stunts for money to raise money to buy the buses to raise the money. Anyway, and when they play the footage, everyone in the theater loves it, but they think it's funny. They're laughing, and it makes Rod feel embarrassed because he wants to be a tough guy, I guess.
Yeah,
and so he's not able to appreciate that he's entertaining people in the way that they are responding to his performance, I guess. They're laughing at him, and he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So I thought this scene was really interesting because I understand that they needed to knock him down a peg and that they needed to get us to the point where he was going to give up for a while. But I also just thought it was really interesting, the idea that you fill a theater, you get a bunch of people in there, and you're looking forward to them just fully embracing your work, and they take it the wrong way, and it makes you feel like shit. And I just thought that was really interesting because that's something I'm sure all of them. because we didn't talk about this, but the Lonely Island. So Yorma and Andy are in it, but Akiva also directed it.
Yeah,
So
and he
all
had
three of them.
cameo. Did you
Oh,
see?
I didn't
see that?
notice. Where was he?
Oh God, he was in either a dream or like he was playing a weird guy. This is something I wrote down that he had a cameo, but I forget
Mm-hmm.
the context of the cameo. Oh, I wish that you knew because I was hoping you would know.
I did. I honestly missed it. Well, you know
He
what? Maybe
was
we can
playing
look it up.
yeah.
The weird guy. I was like, Sarah, that describes like 60% of the
Well,
characters in
he's
this movie.
like he's being all like extra. It's like a dance or like a. Oh God, what is it? Hold on.
Wow, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so I thought that movie theater scene was really interesting. And of course, while you're looking this up, I'll just say that kind of leads us to the point where Rod has a little fight with Yorma. Again, sorry that I don't remember his character's name. And he basically blames him for cutting the footage together. Was it Jeff? Maybe Jeff is the name of Yorma's character. Anyway, so he goes home. And by the way, I just want you to know that I totally called this. Like, you remember the scene where Rod tells Denise all about his dad, which I also thought was a really funny scene where he's like, yeah, so he like jumped the buses and his handlebars exploded. And he's like, it's this very graphic description of how his face like blew off
Yes.
and like blew out the back of his head. And I thought that was very funny. But as he's telling her the story of like what happened to his dad, I turned to Chris and I was like, his mother lied to him. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, his dad's not a stuntman. I promise you. Like, watch, we're going to find out that his mother lied about his dad being a stuntman, and he's going to find out and he's going to get really upset about it. So I totally saw that coming. Chris was like, oh, well, maybe it's a story he's making up. And I was like, no, he definitely believes that his dad died that way, but we're going to find out that that's not how he actually died.
Sorry, go on.
No, did you find the cameo?
No, I can't find anyone describing the
Well, did you look in the IMDb trivia page? Because usually they'll put down cameos. So Rod comes home and his mother confesses to him that his dad was not a stuntman. He was actually a cashier at was it a sporting goods store, or do you remember? Was it a shoe store? Tire store. His dad was a cashier at a tire store.
Yes. And he died. He ate too much pie.
He died in a
pie
eating contest. Yeah, which I thought was funny because a pie eating contest is also its own version of stupid. Like being a stuntman who jumps buses is kind of stupid, but so is eating pie. Like so is pie eating competition. So in a way, like his dad and him share that sort of weird hobby that's also kind of stupid.
So Akiva's mom makes a cameo. But I know Akiva made a cameo too. I saw him.
Okay, well if you figure it out, let me know and we'll tweet it out. Or maybe somebody out in the internet knows.
Please, somebody tweet at us.
Please tweet at us. I know there are accounts on that we follow on Twitter that are a Lonely Island fan accounts. So if anybody knows if and where Akiva cameoed in Hot Rod, please tweet at us at Adam Andy Pod.
Did Akiva cameo?
At Adam Andy Pod, please tell us.
Sarah will not be able to sleep until you tweet at us.
Sarah will be awake all night. You could just review the tape, maybe. You just watch Hot Rod again.
Rewatch it.
Watch the whole thing again. All right. I think it's about time to sort of come to the end here. Are you ready to
one more thing?
Thing. Okay. Cool beans.
Cool beans.
I did enjoy that scene.
Cool beans.
That was another weird thing that reminded me of something that you would see in Wet Hot American Summer, but also it reminded me of something you'd see in like a Lonely Island short.
Okay, here's the thing. After that, I realized what that little thing did. It wasn't just dumb and stupid and like, what the fuck is that? It like brought their characters closer together and gave them like this little inside jokey kind of like camaraderie. Like it really communicated something important about their characters and the point of the story. Like even though it was weird on the surface,
we're talking about the Cool Beans music montage.
The Cool Beans, yes,
the Cool Beans remix,
and I loved it. And I was like, I wish that more movies did stuff like this that like seems like out of place, but like that actually does
like a non sequitur
communicate things about the characters that you couldn't get from like a few words. Or
I wish there had been more moments like this between those two characters in the movie too.
Yeah. And this definitely reminds me of my relationship with my brother. Like we bond on our sense of humor. Like we have really weird senses of humor. Like I will walk by his desk when he's working and just be like, eh. And he'll be like, eh. And like,
and then we cut a montage together of that.
And we just like make weird sounds and make weird faces. And I poke him and like he pokes me. And like, that's just, that's just a sibling thing. And so I really liked this little thing that they did with the Cool Beans.
Yeah, totally. Okay, shall we talk about the end, the big jump?
The big jump.
The big jump. So basically, after Cool Beans, when they decide to, I can't remember what is the catalyst for him deciding to go back to, being a stuntman. I just watched this movie like literally 2 hours ago, but I do know that Yorma has made some kind of connection with a local AM radio station, which, by the way, I didn't immediately think about the implications of a radio station broadcasting a stunt, which is a very visual thing. But once it did hit me, I was like, oh, that's amazing. Of course, they're broadcasting on the radio something that only is interesting visually.
Yes. And Chris Parnell,
which I thought was very clever.
Chris Parnell was so funny as that guy with the tattoo. The
tattoo of the guy of the Calvin peeing on the radio, the FM radio,
and the TV.
And he's like, and then he goes on for way too long about it. He's like, I'd like to think that he just had sex and there's some residue and it split, and then they're all just standing there, and they're like, I'm very uncomfortable with that. Oh, also, we didn't even talk about the riot. Again, a very weird, out there moment that I thought was really funny. And it's like there are like sparks of something that's different than your usual slapstick movie that were in there. And so when they're like walking to, okay, so let me back this up. So the AM radio is going to sponsor the jump. They're going to pay for everything. They build this huge ramp. They put all the buses up. Somebody buys Andy a leather suit to wear. I guess the guys on the crew, maybe. So when they're on their way there, they're having this like big emotional, like the whole neighborhood is like gathering behind them, like everybody, all the crew, everybody's coming together. They're all walking to the jump. I don't know why they're walking, but they're walking there. And then everyone in the town kind of follows behind, and it's this big like, song everybody's singing. And then they break out into a riot for some reason.
No, just one guy breaks a window, and then they everyone riot. Yeah,
it's almost like you can't get a bunch of people together without something getting destroyed.
Did you notice that Danny McBride stole the TV? That was the one thing that I noticed.
100%.
Like they're all standing around going like, I'm like traumatized, or like they're like,
which I thought was very funny. They're like, that was awful. Like I'm so upset, and he's standing there holding. That was actually one of my favorite jokes. Is that he's holding the TV and he's like, it's like, I mean, why can't people just be cool? Like, why do people have to go and like take things that don't belong to them? And he's like holding the TV. That was very funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So Denise shows up, gives him a big old smooch. I thought the kiss was funny because at first I was like, oh, so they're just going to do the weird kiss. And I was like, all right, I've seen that before. But the fact that he then pulls away and is like, I didn't like that because your mouth was all open. Like that made the joke funny,
And she was like, oh, Like, I was like, isn't that the point? Like, what? I also didn't
but
like.
Again, like, I wanted them to give her more funny bits like that because that was funny, and I wanted her to get more bits anyway.
I also like imagining kissing that mustache, like that fake mustache.
I know, we didn't talk about the mustache. Did you notice that the mustache was like twice as big in the last scene as it was the rest of the movie?
Like the kiss, I was expecting them to like
she just get a mouthful of mustache.
No, but it was so awkward, and then I was expecting him to be like, wait, and just like rip the mustache off and then have like a real kiss.
He needs the mustache. It's part of the whole thing. But then the second time when they leaned in, that was hot.
Yeah.
Like the first one was like gross, and then the second
at the end. Yeah. Yeah, that was okay. Pin.
We'll get there. We'll put a pin in that. And then he does the jump and almost dies.
Yes.
But manages to get up, and they raise the money, and
walk
the whole
up to
thing,
the top,
everything gets tied up in a bow.
$1,000. And I love Chris Reynolds' joke. The conveniently priced surgery.
Yeah, the conveniently priced surgery. Yeah. And then everything ends up perfectly in the end. They get the money. They save the stepdad, which, by the way, the fact that it was played by Ian McShane, like, can we talk about how they got Ian? Again, this is like in That's My Boy, where they got like Susan Sarandon and like James Caan to be in those movies. It's like, how did they get these actors? How did you get Ian McShane,
Sissy
Spacek to be in this movie? But they were great, and so he gets the surgery, and he gets well enough. And then Rod kicks his ass and makes him shit himself.
Yeah.
We can talk about the scene where they're doing Tai Chi, but again, another good, like, they gave her a couple of good bits. I wish they gave her more, but when Denise does the thing that makes him shit his pants, that was very funny.
Hilarious. Where he's like, I'm just gonna go. Like,
I'm just gonna go. She's like, you asked for it. You asked for it, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm leaving for totally unrelated reasons.
Yeah, and
he's like,
it didn't work.
He's like hobbling.
Yeah,
he's like hobbling back.
Yeah, that was cute.
That was good. That was funny. They had good chemistry, I thought.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah.
She has chemistry with everyone. She's just so cute.
Well, so does he, honestly, like, for the most part. I mean, I don't think he had a lot of chemistry with the chick in That's My Boy, but I don't know that they were supposed to. In Palm Springs, you didn't think they had chemistry?
His girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
But they weren't supposed to have
chemistry. Yeah, no, that would have been, that would not have been something you want. Final thoughts on Hot Rod.
Loved parts of it, hated parts of it altogether. Not a terrible film, but I think.
Would you watch it again?
I think I would, just for those cool
just so
parts.
You could find out where Akiva cameos, so you can get some rest.
Yes.
Okay, so enjoyed parts of it, but overall not your favorite of the. But
I love the Lonely Island. I love the three of them.
Mm-hmm.
I worship the ground they walk on. Like, I am a big fan. And they were just babies.
They were just little babies, just little comedy babies.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed this movie. I would definitely watch it again. I think it would get funnier the more times you watch it.
Probably, yeah.
God, we didn't even talk about this, but when they hold his head under the water in the pool, that was so upsetting. I was so upset. I was like, he's drowning. I enjoyed it. Again, I think that I think you can see, now that we've had the privilege and we haven't even gotten to all of his movies yet, but now that we've had the privilege to kind of take a broad brush and look at multiple things that he's been in, I think you can really see how I'm interested to compare this to, like, when we do the Lonely Island shorts and we look at a selection of those. I'm interested to see, like, how, in what way we can kind of compare those together to each other. But I think you can kind of see the way that their work has developed over time. Yeah. And how this had some really good stuff that maybe could have been a little bit more nuanced and complex. And that later on down the line we get more nuance and complexity, not just in the writing but also in Andy's acting as a comedic actor. And but overall, I thought this movie was really funny and has a really great cast, and I would definitely watch it again. So, Moments of Thirst?
Moments of Thirst.
Moments of Thirst. Who went first last week? I can't remember.
I don't know, but I'd like to go.
Oh, you are ready? I wrote down like 6 things.
Oh, wow.
But I'll try to narrow it down to 3.
My first thing is just the opening and the first few scenes where he's doing bike tricks.
Yeah, I like
just
that
like
too.
all the bike tricks.
The bike tricks,
I thought was really
his
hot.
butt looks good in those overalls.
I didn't see his butt in the
How can you not? When he's like bent over that bike, you weren't checking out his butt the whole time? I was.
Huh. No, I guess not. I liked his face.
He's got a peachy little
his
butt.
Hair.
Yeah, his face is beautiful. Like he looks like that guy that I would have had a crush on in high school when I was in theater, and like maybe we'd make out backstage a couple of times, but then like nothing would really come of it, and then he'd start dating like cute little tiny girls who are dancers and ingenues, and then maybe we'd hook up a couple of times like when we were in between people, but nothing would like serious would really come of it.
Who are you talking about? I'm like dying.
Nothing. No, he was beautiful and charming as usual, and he was just so pretty. Sarah, he was just so pretty in this movie, guys.
It's my moments of thirst, Nicole.
I'm sorry. Yes, please continue. I'm so sorry.
2.
I didn't mean to step on your thirst.
The dancing in the forest, the parts that were him. He did do some.
Yeah,
some
of it was him,
opening dance where he was doing like a routine, like a routine that he could do.
I'm not convinced that was all him, because some of those steps looked pretty complicated.
Like I saw his face. There were some.
It was in shadow though.
I have to watch this again then, because like
I'm not entirely sure that was. I feel like once they pulled out to the wide shot and he started doing the footwork, I feel like that was a different actor. I think. I mean, he was in like a jumpsuit and they could just put a wig on him. I mean, you know.
I would love for Andy to be able to do that. Oh my gosh. But
I mean, we did see him dance in Palm Springs. He's got some moves.
He can do some things. I fully believe he can do some things. And then the third moment of thirst, besides the kiss at the end, that's the hot kiss, is when he gets mad at his dad not being a stunt person.
So you just blew over one of those moments. The hot kiss was one of your moments. You just like blew right past that.
No. Besides, no. Just, I'm saying if I have to pick 3, the third one is when he rips up the mustache. When he like
that was one of your moments of thirst.
The mustache, really tiny bits.
Anger at the mustache.
Just the tiny anger, the little.
Just okay.
The detailed anger.
The detailed anger. I like it. So a little mustache aggression. You were getting a little. It was
cute. It was cute. Yeah. It was adorable.
You like the cute stuff.
I like the cute stuff.
Which is totally great. I love that. Okay. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I've realized that I can probably consolidate some of these because 3 of them are just different scenes where he's wearing a tank top. So I guess my first that I would say moments of thirst is just generally appreciation for all the times we got to see his torso in a tank top. I like even when he's wearing that ridiculous Hulkamania tank top, like his chest and his arms, and like he was just like really in good shape in this movie. Not that he isn't. I think he's in great shape in Palm Springs as well, but like he just looks so good. I know that. So there's that scene where he's doing the Tai Chi.
Yeah.
And the weird old man like rubs him down with oil. Oh and I know that's not supposed to be hot, but I can't help myself. There was
the oil. Yeah.
The oil was nice. Also, I've got to give I've just realized looking at this is primarily just things he wore, Sarah. I also have to give props to those gray sweatpants. I feel like they didn't really let us see it from the front very much because they knew we couldn't handle it. They knew we couldn't handle the sweatpants from the front. So either he was wearing this absurd wrestling thing over the sweatpants, or we only got to see him from the back. But the gray sweatpants, I'm gonna have to give a thumbs up to those. And then I guess also, again, I know this outfit was meant to be absurd, but they just couldn't contain his hotness. When he's wearing the wetsuit, when he gets into the pool and they're doing like the thing where they drown him, the drowning was not sexy. But him wearing the wetsuit and like just the way it just like clung to his body. And I know it looked stupid, but the wetsuit, him wearing the wetsuit was just like, and his hair, the whole thing. He was just so pretty, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Who gave him the right to be this pretty in this movie?
I don't know. But when he first was on SNL, I remember I really liked his hair. I thought he was really his personality was cute, but I didn't like his face. I thought his face was too weird. Ooh. Like I liked the pretty boys, like the like model
so you like
pretty
like
boys.
Conventional.
Yes. Now not so much, but yeah.
I think he looks beautiful. His face, his body, everything. He looks beautiful in this movie. I did also, sidebar, not a moment of thirst, but I thought that when the hairdo that they gave him in his afterlife, where he's watching the taco and the grilled cheese fight, was really funny. It was almost like the same hairdo you saw in Grease. Remember in the movie Grease, where Frankie Valli is like, and she's in the beauty school dropout. It almost reminded me of that, like this weird 70s.
I think Akiva is in that. I think he's in that.
Well, then we didn't see his face because the hot dog and the grilled cheese are just fighting, and they're in suits.
Isn't there someone else in there?
No, I don't think so. It's just the hot dog. No, I'm sorry, not the hot dog. The taco and the grilled cheese. Oh no, it's peanut butter and jelly because it leaks jelly when it gets killed by the.
Okay, tacos. I'm still dying to know where Akiva is. I know I saw him.
Well, you're gonna have to watch it again and let us know. Unless one of our listeners out there can tweet at us at AdamAndyPod. Did Akiva make a cameo in Hot Rod? Please help us out. Sarah will not rest until she finds out.
I know what his face looks like. I know it.
Anyway, so that's my moments of thirst. I feel like this movie was like, in the way that Palm Springs is peak Andy Samberg thirst, I feel like this movie was also peak Andy Samberg thirst for me. Peak
thirst.
Peak thirst.
As you would imagine, I'm normally up for pretty much anything in the bedroom, but I can't tell if what happened was weird or sexy.
Would you like to do Adam or Andy?
I would like nothing more than do Adam or Andy, a trivia contest for one. Sarah's gonna. I don't want to quantify it. So tell us, what are the rules today? Is it the usual?
It's the usual. 2 facts.
Okay. 2 facts. So Sarah's gonna give me some trivia, and I have to guess whether it's Adam or Andy that she's talking about.
Spent 7 days in a Jesuit retreat in Wales and didn't speak the entire time there per their rules.
Oh, that sounds like something Adam Driver would do. Absolutely.
Has a bus license.
Oh, now I'm confused because they can't both be Adam, but I know Adam has a bus license because he had to get one for Patterson.
Nicole, this is not fair because you know everything about Adam. Like you,
I don't.
But you do.
Just heard me.
Everything that I bring that is an Adam fact, I
don't know everything. I'm sure there's stuff that I don't know. You could definitely stump me about Andy, because did Andy not speak? How many days?
7.
Did he really do that? Was that Andy?
Okay, Nicole.
Well, it has to be because Adam has a bus license. Look, I know he had to get a bus license because when they shot Patterson, he's driving the bus in all the shots, and they wouldn't let him drive the bus unless he had the license. And he got the license just as shooting began. Like, he almost didn't get the license in time, but he got the license just so that he could drive the bus for Patterson, which is a movie that I think you'll really enjoy, by the way.
It's a trick question. They're both Adam. Thank you for...
you got me, Sarah, you got me.
I didn't get you.
Yes, you did.
You knew both of them.
Well, only because it totally sounds like something Adam would do to probably for a role.
Like, I know nothing about Adam. Like, everything I see about him, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But you know everything about him. I can't.
But I didn't know that first.
Anything.
I didn't know that first fact.
But you said that sounds like
I just guessed. And doesn't it sound like something you would do? It doesn't sound like something Andy would do.
I didn't include this.
Why would Andy be silent for 7 days?
I didn't include this, but it's a research for a role. So it was not just for fun. He was researching a role.
Well, he was in a movie with he was in a Martin Scorsese movie where he played like a Jesuit priest. So
yes,
sounds like something that you would do. Which I'm kind of dreading watching that movie, to be honest, Sarah. I feel like that might be the movie Silence. Have you seen any clips of it?
No.
I feel like, and I'm just guessing because I haven't seen the movie. It's quite possible that might be the only movie that I ever watch with Adam Driver in it that does not make me thirsty.
Okay. Priests don't do it for you?
I didn't say that. Priests? I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but he looks unwell in that movie. I'll just say that. Sarah, don't doubt your amazing trivia because I love this game and I look forward to it every time we record this show. So please keep bringing in trivia because you're teaching. I feel like you're teaching me, and I feel like we're educating the public.
Oh, you look awesome. Come the fuck upstairs.
Okay.
But wait, I have to warn you about something.
What?
If you come up here, I'm gonna tie you to my bed and keep you for at least 3 days. I'm just in that kind of mood.
Sarah, are you ready to spin the wheel?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right.
What's on the wheel?
Let's okay. Well, okay. So before we get to the wheel, let me just say I did a little something different this week. Because I'm feeling a little sad this holiday season because usually in December there's a new Star Wars movie, and I'm feeling sad that I don't have a new, like I have The Mandalorian and that's great, but there are no new Star Wars movies for me to go and see, and I can't go to the theater, and so that makes me sad as well. So I did something.
I have an idea what you did. You cheated again, because when it comes to Adam, you have to cheat.
I did something a little different.
God.
I did something a little different.
Why didn't you pick all 3 of them?
Because we have to watch them in order, Sarah. We can't talk about The Last Jedi and then go back and talk about The Force Awakens. So for those of you listening to the show, Sarah, what's on the wheel this week?
The Force Awakens.
Just like 6 times. I may have tricked the wheel a little bit. I may have did a Jedi mind trick to trick this in my favor. So shall I spin?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see what we're going to watch.
Dying to know.
Next. It's going to be The Force Awakens.
Oh, look. It's The Force Awakens.
It's going to be The Force Awakens. You look upset. Is it because I'm making you watch a Star Wars movie with me?
No, I love these films. I do.
I do think that we need to watch them in order. So yes. I think that we watch The Force Awakens first, because how else can we properly pay tribute to Reylo unless we watch The Force Awakens, then The Last Jedi, and then The Rise of Skywalker. We can't watch them out of order.
That's true.
So that's what we'll be watching next, folks. So we'll be wrapping up. I guess are we calling this a wrap on season 1 at the end of December? That'll be, I guess, our last episode of season 1. It was kind of a short season because we started midway through the year. But I'm going to call this the last episode of season 1 will be The Force Awakens, starring Adam Driver. And nice. I'm fucking excited. And I finally get to talk about a Star Wars movie on our podcast. Finally.
Yes.
And Sarah, you look frightened.
No, I'm excited.
Okay.
I did. I love Star Wars.
All right. Well, folks, thanks for listening to this episode about Hot Rod. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, all of those things. If you'd like to leave us a review, we would absolutely love you for it. Tell a friend about the show. And please, I genuinely would love to hear, what is your favorite scene from Hot Rod, or maybe you have your own moments of thirst that you'd like to share with us. Also, please, somebody help us. Did Akiva cameo in Hot Rod?
Please help us.
Sarah is going to have so many sleepless nights and anxiety dreams about this. If she does fall asleep, it'll be in a fit of exhaustion, just wondering where in this film did Akiva cameo. So please, you can find us on Twitter at AdamAndyPod, or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Adam and Andy Podcast. And please join us for the next episode where we'll be talking about The Force Awakens. I'm so excited. Can't wait.
This is a time when you are required to talk about Star Wars.
I'm going to be on the loose. And I don't know if you're going to be able to rein me in.
I won't want to.
My God, Sarah, this is the best Christmas gift that you could give me, is to just let me just go on and on and on about Star Wars.
I would love to.
Please come back.
I also would like to talk about it too. I mean, I know. I like to discuss it too. Yeah.
I know, and I feel like we've talked about it maybe, but never really like talked about it. Like, I feel like now we're really gonna like
inspect it.
We're gonna analyze. We're gonna take a big juicy bite out of this movie, and I'm excited.